Hello guys, welcome back again to my channel Dami Dimension. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a ruched skirt, and we are going to be making use of this pattern from one of my previous tutorial. Is a pencil skirt pattern. I'll post a link to this pattern in the description box or at the end of this video, so please make sure you watch that video. Please disregard this red curvy lines on the pattern. Is the lines that I use to draft the hip padding that I have a video on the channel already also. Okay, so in order to get started, basically I'm grabbing myself a fresh pattern paper and I'm placing my front pattern on top of it, and I'm simply going to trace out the shape of this pencil skirt like so. All right, so after tracing that out, I'm going to be extending the length from this line right here. This one right here is hemming allowance, so you can disregard that, or you can simply fold it in if it's confusing. So from that blue line, I'm taking 10 inches extra to extend the length of this skirt, because I just want it longer, and it's a ruched skirt. By the time you pull up the drawstring, it's going to be shorter. So, you know, just add as much or as less as you want. All right. So now I'm going to connect those 2 points together, and then I will measure what I have between here and here. So I have 8 inches. I'm going to transfer that down there as well. And then I'm going to connect that point to my hip line right here. All right, so I'm also going to extend my center front line. All right, so simply take out your pattern once you're done tracing, and the next thing to do is to remove the dart allowance that we had on the initial pattern. So I had 1 inch dart allowance. I'm going to be taking it out of my new pattern because I'm using a stretchy fabric, so I don't need a dart on this one. Okay, so just take that out. You can even take additional 1 inch out to make 2 inches out. So I'm also checking the length of my dart. It was 4 inches, so I'm marking that 4 inches on my side seam, and I'm going to connect that point together smoothly, you know, just to blend it out basically. All right, so after blending that out, like I said, you can take even 1 inch extra out depending on how stretchy your fabric is. Okay, so now I'm simply adding ½ inch joining allowance around 1 inch along the hemline. And yeah, so now you can go ahead and cut out this pattern, but I'm just putting an indication at the center front to let me know that I'm cutting that part on fold, and I'm simply cutting out my pattern. All right, so this is what the front pattern looks like finally, and the next thing to do is to draft the back pattern. So similarly, I'm placing my back pattern on a fresh pattern paper. Here is my zipper allowance. I don't need that as well, so I'm simply folding it out of the way so it doesn't cause any confusion. Okay, so once you're done folding, place it on your paper, and you're going to also trace it out just like you did to the front pattern. So I'm tracing out all the perimeter of this pattern, and then I'm also going to extend by the same 10 inches that I did with for my front pattern. I'm folding in my hemming allowance that I had on my pencil skirt because I don't need it. So so from this line, I'm taking my 10 inches extension, you know, to make the skirt longer like I did for the front, and I'm extending that center back line to meet up with my 10 inches, and I'm also connecting this one together, and I'm measuring what I have between here and here on my hemline, and I'm transferring it to the new hemline, connecting that point now to my hip line. All right, so once that is done, again you can take out your back pattern, and as well I'm going to be removing my dart allowance. So I'm taking out my dart allowance from my waistline, and I'm also checking the length. It was 5.5 inches, so I'm measuring 5.5 inches around my side seam, and I'm connecting that smoothly, adding my 1 inch hemming allowance, ½ inch seam allowance, you know. And then this part is no longer there, so you can now go ahead and cut out your skirt pattern. All right, so this is what the back pattern looks like, and here is the front again in case you're wondering what they both look like. So I'm setting this aside and I'm going to be cutting one last thing, and that is the facing. So grab yourself a fresh pattern paper, fold it into two, and you're going to place your center front along this folded edge, match it along like so, and you are going to trace out your waistline and a little bit of your side seam. So I just determine how long I want the facing to be, and I measured that out, and I place that length as well there, and I'm connecting that together. So this is my front facing. I'm using this place to also draft my back facing the same way you drafted the front facing. You're also going to draft the back facing the exact same way. All right, so I used the length of 4 inches, which I later reduced. I felt it was too long. All right, so you can use 2 inches, which is okay. After that is done, cut it out, and this is what my facing looks like. All right, so this is the fabric I'm going to be using for this project, and I'm simply folding the fabric into two and placing my front pattern on it, and I'm going to just cut that out. And remember, I match the part I want to cut on fold to the fold of the fabric, and I'm going to simply cut that out. So here is what it looks like once I was done cutting. I'm also going to cut out my back pattern the same exact way. So fold your fabric into two, match your back pattern along the folded edge, you match the center back pattern along the folded edge, you cut it out. All right, the facing the same way, fold your fabric into two, match the folded edge to the folded edge of your fabric. So I'm going to be repeating the same for cutting my front and back facing. All right, so the next thing I cut out was this strip of fabric, which has the width of roughly 1.75 and the length of 31.5, which is the length of my skirt. All right, including the seam allowance and the hemming allowance of my skirt. All right, so the last thing I cut out was these two strips, and it has the length of 45 inches, which is the length of my skirt multiplied by 1.5. You can make it shorter if you want, and I cut out two pieces and they have the width of 1 inches. All right, so it's time to start joining this together, and here is my back pattern. I just have to mark this skirt because they are so similar but different. So I'm going to be finding the midpoint of this waistline of my front. I placed a mark there, and I'm going to draw a line all the way down. So just square the line all the way down like so. This for now is going to be serving as an indication to know my front pattern, and I'm also going to show you how to use that line later on. So bring back your front pattern, your back pattern, and place them right sides facing each other, and you're going to be stitching on the side seam by whatever seam allowance you put or that you want. And then you're going to also place your facing. Make sure you identify which one is the front and which one is the back. So that's why I wrote F on the front. And then I'm going to be placing my front and back facing right sides facing each other, and I'm also stitching them on the side seam. So after that has been stitched, this is what I have. I've also already joined my facing on the side, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach my facing to the waistline. So this line shows my front pattern of the skirt, and this F also shows the front of my facing. So I'm going to be matching front to the front, and I'm going to be placing them right sides facing each other like so, matching my side seams first. I'm pinning, and I'm also going to the second side seam. I'm pinning side seam to side seam. Make sure they are right side facing each other, okay, and pin that also together, and I'm also pinning them together at the middle. So once you're done pinning, it should look something like this, and then you're going to take that to your sewing machine and join them together by 1/2 of an inch all the way around like so. All right, so once you're done and you flip it to the wrong side, it's going to make your waistline clean and nice. And next, you should also go ahead and hem the down part of your skirt. Okay, you can fold it twice and hem it around, or you can fold it once if you overlock the raw edges and then hem it round as well. Okay, so once I was done doing all of that, this is what I have. Everything is coming out already and we're almost done, you guys. This skirt is just so simple and nice and classy at the same time. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed this video so far. So remember to smash the like button if you do. Okay, moving on, I'm bringing back this strip and I'm folding the edge like this. So just go ahead and hem the edge, one of the edges. Okay, and this is the one that has the same length as my skirt. Okay, and once you're done hemming that edge, you're going to match that edge you hem to the hem of your skirt, if that makes sense. So you also place it on this line, making sure that the line falls at the middle of the strip, just like you can see what I did. And once you're done placing it, you are going to go ahead and stitch it really close to the edge on this side, and on the other side you stitch it also really close to the edge, and at the middle you are going to place another row of stitch at the middle, which should, you know, kind of align to that chalk straight line that I placed on the skirt. So I'm just pinning it down so it's easy for me to do, and then I'm going to go ahead and do those 3 stitches that I showed you, making sure that you do not stitch your back panel together, obviously. Okay, and here is how you can achieve that on your sewing machine, just for the sake of beginners. So you are making sure that you push your back panel away as you place it on your sewing machine, while you stitch down the strip and the front panel together. So you're going to keep moving your back panel out of the way and then moving this one forward as you stitch, just like that. All right, so once you're done doing that stitch, you should have something like this. I have placed, you know, 3 lines of stitches on that strip, and on the right side this is what it looks like. So once you did those 3 lines of stitches, you've already created a casing for your rope. So now I'm bringing back the rope, which is 2 strips, and I'm going to be folding them right sides facing each other like this all the way down, and I'm going to be stitching it, you know, closing up the end right here and also stitching it all the way down, and repeating the same thing to the second one as well. So once I was done stitching it that way, this is what I have. I trimmed off the excess so it doesn't cause any bulkiness, and I'm going to be using my bobby pin to turn it to the right side. You can use a turner. So I'm just clipping the bobby pin to the end like so, and I'm just using it to push it in all the way through, so until I turn the entire strip to the right side. You should also go ahead and turn the second strip the same exact way, which I have done. All right, so now I'm bringing back my skirt, and it's time to pass this rope into the channel. I've already done that for one of the strips, so you are going to be putting one strip into one channel. Basically, we have 2 strips and we have 2 channels, so obviously you're putting one strip into one channel. All right, so using my bobby pin as well, I'm going to be passing the last strip into the last channel. And once your rope is out on the other side, take out your bobby pin, and you can use a clip to just hold that in place before you take it to your sewing machine to stitch it down. So this is what both of them look like in there. And next thing to do is to take it to your sewing machine and stitch it down, so that by the time you pull your strip, the rope doesn't come out, it forms a ruffle instead. So I was done doing that stitch, and you know, the ruched skirt is done. Basically, I'm so in love with this skirt, you guys, and I hope you guys will give it a try as well. If you do, you can tag me on Instagram at Dami Dimension, Facebook, Pinterest, all at Dami Dimension. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss awesome tutorials like this that I share on this channel. And also remember to hit the like button if you found this video helpful. You can also share the video with your sewing mates. You know, don't be selfish, share the video. All right, so in case you're wondering what the back side looks like, here it is, you guys. It's so plain and simple, and of course how you can rock the skirt, you know. In fact, just make it, okay? Just make yours and you will love it. All right, let's meet again in my next video, you guys. Bye bye.